Good morning, student. Welcome here in this YouTube channel. We have started that unit number 6, that my childhood, and that unit is about our former Abdul Kalam, Abdul Kalam, and the story of his childhood, means how he earned his first earning and how his childhood days were spent. We came to know about the nature of his mother and father, and what are the qualities which he inherited from his father and mother, that we have discussed. Missile man, he is known as Missile man. So he just helped his brother in selling newspaper, and this way he earned his first earning. Up to that we have discussed. Now we will go forward. I think we have completed up to paragraph number 6. Yes, we have completed up to paragraph number 6, means that new teacher that insulted Mr. Kalam and told him to sit outside or sit the last bench on the school. After school we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. I am just reading paragraph number 7. Lakshmana Shastri summoned the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent child. So when after school, Abdul Kalam has told this whole thing to his parents, and his friend also told that thing to his parents. And when this matter came to the principal scolded that new teacher and told not to spread the poison of that inequality and communal intolerance. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or to quit the school and the island. And he strictly told a teacher to leave the school or to apologize for his behavior. But the not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Conviction means a strong opinion or belief. Here we have another new word. And not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Means young teacher just got that moral or message from the behavior of him, and he was apologized for his behavior. Paragraph number 8. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwar was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. Segregation means separation of people. Second, means Rameshwar people or the society of Rameshwar is somehow rigid about the separation of people. However, my science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. But here we have another character, that is Abdul Kalam's science teacher, that is Subramaniam Iyer. And that Subramaniam Iyer was also Orthodox Brahmin, and his wife was very conservative. And Abdul Kalam considered Subramaniam Iyer as a rebel, means he didn't believe that science teacher didn't believe about this discrimination and orthodoxy of the people's mind. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. Mingle means mix. And Mr. Iyer, his science teacher, tried a lot to just break this barrier of discrimination and social discrimination and differences between this caste. And that's why Abdul Kalam considered him a rebel. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. And this dialogue he just used to tell to Mr. Kalam. And he told that he wanted him to develop so that he were on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. Means he wanted something from Abdul Kalam. He told that he wanted that change from him, and that's why he wanted that Abdul Kalam should develop himself. Paragraph number 9. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. He means here his science teacher. So one day what happened, his science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer invited Abdul Kalam for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. As we all know that his wife was a rigid, conservative and orthodox Brahmin. So she was so much angry because when she came to know that Abdul Kalam was a Muslim boy, so that news horrified her. Horrified means here angered her. And at the idea of Muslim boy being invited to dine in the ritually pure kitchen. Ritually pure means kept protected from all the outside influences for the observance of religion. Number 4 is so she thought that this Muslim boy's entry would make his her kitchen impure. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife. Perturbed means disturbed. But Shiva Subramaniam was not disturbed and he was not angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. And instead of being angry, what did he do? He just served a meal to Mr. Kalam and he just sat beside him to take that meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed my differences in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. So, see, Abdul Kalam had the same habit of taking meal and cleaning that floor after eating. So, Mr. Subramaniam Iyer's wife was observing these all things. And Mr. Kalam is telling here that I don't know whether she is observing all the habits of my eating rice and drinking milk and cleaning that floor. When I was leaving his house, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. And it was Shiva Subramaniam Iyer who invited Mr. Kalam again for dinner in next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, when that second time that invitation was given to Mr. Kalam, at that time Mr. Kalam felt hesitation, and his teacher got the point, and he told, once you decided to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. So he just told that once you decided to do something for the society, to bring change in the society, so this kind of problems you have to face. When I visited his house the next week, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hand. So that was the change, behavioral change of Mr. Iyer's wife. When second time Mr. Kalam went there to take dinner to his science teacher's home, at that time his wife himself served dinner to Mr. Kalam, and she was not angry that time. She was happy to serve that food to Mr. Kalam. Paragraph number 10. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Imminent means about to happen. You just note down these 5 new words. After that, I'll give this 6 number. Please note down. Number 6 is imminent. It means about to happen. So it was the time when freedom was just about to happen. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. Gandhiji declared that now Indian people will build their own India. The whole country was filled with unprecedented optimism. Unprecedented means never ending. Never before seen or never before felt. So whole country was filled with the optimism, means whole country was filled with the hope that they would get their own freedom. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwar and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathpuram. So it was the time that Mr. Kalam asked his father that he wanted to join another college or another school, or he wanted to go to Ramananthapuram, that district headquarters, for further study. paragraph number 11. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abdul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? So his father told him that he knew that Abdul Kalam wanted to go away to grow, but he asked another question, that does the seagull not fly across the sun alone or without nest? He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. His father was ready for that, but his mother was hesitant. She was not giving permission for that. So, for consolation, Abdul Kalam's father quoted Khalil Gibran's quotation to her wife. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. So this is the quotation of Khalil Gibran. He meant to say that your children are not your children. Means actually they are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. Means they have their own dreams, they have their own opinion, they have their own stories. They come through you, but not from you. Of course they come, means your children come through you, but they just not come from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. Means it's your duty, means it's parents' duty to give love and care to their children. But you can't give you should not give your thoughts to your children, because they have their own thoughts, they have their own life, they have their own story. So parents should not always try to just suppress their thought to their parents. Here that thing is spoken by Mr. Gibran. Means he is telling that give freedom to your children. They also have their wings. They also have that direction. They also have their destination. So don't just set a destination for your children, because they know that what they actually want, and only though they know what they actually want. So your thoughts will not help them to just reach to their direction or destination, because they have their own thoughts, and when you just put or suppress your thoughts on your children, so they would be confused and they would be directionless. They may be directionless. And this quotation that Mr. Kalam's father told to his wife, and after that Kalam's mother gave permission to go for further study. So this is the extract which is taken from Abdul Kalam's autobiography, and the name of that autobiography is Wings of Fire. In Hindi it is Agan Pankh. So if you will get this book from anywhere, you can read that. It's very good to read. So here we have ended this unit. Now you have some time we have only new words here. So let me give you homework. So today's homework, as we have discussed this second part of the unit, so write this new word. You just note down this, student. Okay students, so now we are going to start another unit, that is unit number 7. The name of the unit is packing. Very interesting and funny unit it is. You will see here some of the part is full of comedy. So let's start it. Before we go for the actual unit, here we have before you read session. Some questions are asked and you will have to give answer. Do you like going on trip? Of course, we all love to go to trip. What kind of trips do you love the most? Mostly that depends on that person's mood or interest. Some like adventurous trip, some like that peaceful trip, some like religious trip. So that depends on their mood and interest. How do you feel about having to pack for a trip? So that feels boring. Means packing, all the people don't like packing. Have you ever discovered on a trip that you have forgotten to pack a few things you very much need, or that you can't find them easily? We all have this kind of incident in our life. Does this make you angry or does it make you laugh at yourself? Now read this description of how the author and his friends packed. So as the name of the story is packing, here we have one story, and author and his friends are doing packing. Jerome K. Jerome has written this, and this unit is extracted from original book Three Men in a Boat. So that is the original book Three Men in a Boat, and these 16 paragraphs are taken from that book, and writer is Jerome K. Jerome. Here we have the actual experience of writer. I said I would pack. I means here narrator. I rather pride myself on my packing. Packing is one of those many things that I feel I know more about than any other person living. Well, narrator is somehow here blowing his own trumpet. Means he is just telling that he believed that he could pack the things better than any other in the world. The person living. It surprised me myself. Here we have one word, that is pride myself on. That is I am proud of. It surprised me myself sometimes how many such things there are. Means he is telling that he has many things about which he can be proud of. I impressed the fact upon George and Harris and told them that they had better leave the whole matter entirely to me. Okay, so here we have another two friends, that is George and Harris. George, Harris and Jerome, that is the narrator. These three are the friends, or we can say characters of the story. So he just told George and Harris to keep away themselves from this whole matter of packing. They felt into the suggestion with a readiness that had something uncanny about it. Fell into means accepted here. And uncanny means strange, weird. George spread himself over the easy chair and Harry cocked his leg on the table. So they both were now told to keep away themselves from the matter of packing. So George spread himself over the easy chair and Harry cocked his leg on the table. Means they both were relaxing now, because this Jerome told them to not to disturb him into packing. He would handle all the things easily. Second paragraph. This was hardly what I intended. What I had meant, of course, was that I should boss the job. By doing that packing, Jerome wanted to be a boss of the matter or boss of the things. And that Harris and George should potter about under my directions. And he wanted to give orders to this Harris and George. Potter about means to do some unimportant things. I pushing them aside every now and then with, oh, you, here, let me do it. So finally Jerome was going to start packing, and he just wanted to boss the day or boss the matter. And when he was doing that packing, when this George and Harris were there, so he told them that let me do it, here you are simple enough. Really teaching them, as you might say. They are taking it in the way they did irritated me. And Jerome was behaving like the both friends were irritating him. That is, nothing does irritate me more than seeing other people sitting about doing nothing when I am working. So the one thing which made Jerome irritated is when he was doing something, means some work, and other people are relaxing, and other people were just there seeing Jerome working very hard. So that thing, that matter irritate Jerome a lot, that he is telling. You just note down these 4 words, after that we will go further. So this is for today's video, student. Now it's time to give you homework. I have given one homework, but I am repeating that one and adding something. Write new words of unit 6 and 7. So these 4 you have to add in your homework, okay? This unit will be continued in next session. Till then, take care. Bye.
We'll be right back.